the most important thing, and it's the thing that I've neglected my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the easiest thing to throw away. It's like
Right.
the one thing you can control.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to Supernaut, where we explore the inner and outer dimensions of the self. Today, my guest is Kody Hughes. Cody is the editor of Supernaut, so this literally wouldn't be what it is without him. He's a multimedia content creator for Grand Casino, has his own company, Focal Point Media. He's a videographer, a graphic designer, a commercial and real estate photographer. And after talking to his friends and family, I think he's really capable of anything. So I asked you to pick a song for us to listen to before we started. What song did you pick and why? Actually, you picked two. You have to tell us about both.
My first pick was Ram Ranch by Grant McDonald. And I had this plan that I had figured that you'd never heard that song before, and it's just super vulgar. So I thought, like, whoa, this is crazy. But my real song was Vienna by Billy Joel.
Why did you pick that one?
I really like Vienna because I remember like literally right where I was when I first heard that song. I was 18 years old in my dorm room at college.
Mm,
And I remember someone introduced me to Billy Joel, and I always thought, like, this is like old people music, you know? But then I
yeah.
was like, wow, like the words are so timeless, you know? I've watched so many YouTube breakdowns of like what it means and like how you can interpret it. And it's crazy because that's one of those songs where like every single person has a different view of it, and every person's perspective like injects their own meaning into it. And for me, it's like you can afford to take some time to yourself when you need to. And that's like something that I'm really bad at. So, like, that for me
Mm,
is like, yeah, okay, I
mm,
can chill for a day.
mm-hmm.
But also at the same time, it says, like, whatever you want, like, just go get it. Like, what's in the way of getting what you want? Or really, like, separating noise from signal in your own life and just focusing on what really makes you happy is
Wow.
really what I get out of it, you know?
Hmm. Well, that was the first time I've heard it, which made me desperately sad because it's so beautiful. Like
It's
I'm
a
already
great
obsessed with
song.
it, and I was thinking like I need to figure out what this song means. So I'm gonna go on a deep dive YouTube after this and see what other people think. Cause yeah, that was so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that
Yeah, you're
and your
welcome. It's a
perspective
great
on it.
song. I like it a lot. Yeah, I mean, it really opened my eyes to like all genres of music, I would
Mm,
say. Up to that point, I was pretty hard-headed and like I really only like rhythmic, melodic songs, but then I'm
mm,
like, wow, there's a whole bunch of songs that I just like wrote off because I think I didn't like them,
yeah,
but that's a powerful song.
yeah.
It's cool.
Like obviously, I've always heard of Billy Joel, but I've never looked up any of his songs.
Everyone always thinks Piano Man, you know?
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But wow. Yeah, that was very touching. Very nice. Thank you. Okay, so you've given me lots of advice since we started, and one of the newer ones that you gave me was a few months ago. You said if every episode you get 1% better, like that will add up after time. And yeah, it made me think like I'm really bad at math, but I'm pretty sure after a year, that's like you're 52% better, right? If you
Yeah.
start at zero, like if I started at 0% good after 1 year, like 52% better, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy too about this industry and just like podcasting in general, or just like making just creation in general. It's like it's all perspective. So whatever your version of better is, there's probably someone who has a version that's even more crazy than that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there's always something you can change. I mean, even
Mm-hmm.
from mic placement to what cameras you're using, where the cameras are, what lights are you using, how are you talking, who are
Mm-hmm.
your guests, what did you do to prepare, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there's always something to improve at,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. Like there's never a 100%, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's never, and I mean, I come from a place of like, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to anything creation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's never anything I've ever made where I look back a year later and be like, that was perfect. I always look back and I'm like, damn, I would change this and that and this
Mm-hmm.
and that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that idea, that's a direct quote from Mr. Beast too. He was on Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that in there. And I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. Because I get stuck in this like loop of trying to change too much, and then I get
Mm,
into analysis paralysis,
mm,
where like I'm too busy studying what I need to be doing that I'm just like not doing it.
mhm,
You know what I mean?
mhm,
So just focusing on like the little things that you can control, in relation to budget, skill level, whatever,
mhm,
like that for me, I was like, whoa, that's kind of eye opening.
mhm. And cool how, yeah, you can go from 0% to infinity. Like, it doesn't stop at
Yeah,
100%.
literally. So then what
Yeah.
does 1% even mean?
Right.
you
Right.
know? I mean,
For sure. It's
1%
all
could literally be
perspective.
like, I'm gonna say more than one word or what, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
so much perspective that it's like kind of open to interpretation.
Yeah. But I thought that was a good thing to bring up for the new year because it is January 2nd. So New Year's resolutions are probably on people's minds. And if you have a resolution and if you're just going to get 1% better at something every week, that means a year from now, you're 50% better. Like that's
At
crazy.
least.
Yeah, because then that compounds too, doesn't it? Somebody told me like something about it compounding.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I mean, like in 50 episodes, you're going to be so much better. Like you're going to be way better than 52%, which whatever that means,
Mhm. Mhm.
half, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or one times better, like what even is that?
Yeah.
You're just going to be so much better.
Right.
And in
Right.
terms of other people's expectations, you're probably going to be like 100
Mm.
times better.
Mhm. Yeah, because the things I cared about, the first couple episodes that I like would tell you like change this, and you're like, nobody's gonna notice that. Nobody's gonna
Yeah,
care.
small pauses or like a
Yeah.
fumble on a word. It's like they
Yeah.
don't notice that.
Mhm.
They're not going to care.
Yeah. Did you make any resolutions?
I'm actually like I'm working on that. I don't know what I really want out of this year. I
Mhm.
think like I've reached a weird point. Like this year feels the most different for any year that I've ever had because like I'm 30 now. I just turned 30 in October. And so like that to me feels really weird
Mm.
because from my perspective, at my age right now, my dad was divorced with two kids, 10 and 6. I was 10 years old. My sister was 6. At my age, I'm like, wow, that is crazy. Like, I remember at 10 years old thinking, like, my dad is old. And now
Mhm.
I'm that age
Mhm.
and being like, wow, I'm at a crossroads here. Like, I'm not like a young kid anymore. But
Yeah.
also, I wouldn't consider myself to be like old enough to be like, you're experienced. Like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So mentally, it's this weird crossroads,
Yeah.
you
30 is a
know?
weird age. I remember
Yeah.
my 30th birthday, ran a few miles and cried, and then just went on with my life.
Yeah. I didn't run. I didn't cry yet. We'll see. I'm still a couple of months behind it. It hasn't really hit me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still got to figure it out. It's different too now having two kids because
Mhm.
like my whole perspective on life is totally different now. It's like I was so willing to experiment and risk it all on
Mm.
any idea that I had. Like at any point, I'm like, I don't care if I drain my bank account to zero. This is just what I want to do today.
Mhm.
But now it's like, dude, if you're living in a car with two kids, like that's kind of messed up.
Yeah, you're
Before I was like, I
responsible.
don't care where I'm living.
Yeah, now you have to be responsible for
Yeah.
other
Now
humans.
there's like a higher risk for
Mhm.
everything that I do. And I
Mhm.
feel that. Whether that's real or not, I don't know. Some of that I'm sure I'm just kind of putting into my own brain, but it's like this is different. This feels different. So I
Mm.
guess long answer to your question. I have not made any resolutions, but I am working on making resolutions right now, actually.
Okay.
So I'm like trying to figure it out.
Okay. Well, another piece of advice that you told me, the first piece was that in 100 years, no one's going to know your name. Like you kept saying that over and over again, trying to get me not to be scared to do my first
Yeah.
episode.
It
And
sounds
I was like,
dismal when you say it back to me.
I was like, okay, but we're not 100 years in the future right now. We're right now,
Yeah.
But like I knew what you were trying to say, and it was very helpful to be like, yeah, I mean, nobody cares. So anybody that's thinking about podcasting or coming on, like, nobody really cares about what you do. Like, yeah, people might be rude, but in general, like, people don't really care. So you started a podcast in 2020. Did you have to think like that?
No, in 2020, my mindset was totally different. Like my outlook on life and the world was totally different. I was like, I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm going to be unapologetically myself, and who cares?
That's
I
good.
don't even like I had no thought of like there's no way that this can fail unless I stop doing it.
Yeah.
That was my whole mindset. That's
Yeah.
the only way that this won't work.
Well, that's a good
And
mindset, isn't it?
yeah, it is good, but to the detriment of, probably my um I guess people's outlook on me, because I'm sure I did things that people are like, that's not cool, or probably I don't like that or whatever. We definitely tried to maintain relevancy at certain points of having my own podcast and own show and YouTube channel and making skit form content, stuff like that. Definitely tried to like have this like shock factor about it sometimes where it was
Mm-hmm.
like purposely kind of in your face.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just more aligned with my mindset at the time.
Yeah.
I was younger. I didn't have any kids. I was like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah.
you
So
know?
do you regret any of that now?
I don't regret it, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it the same
Okay.
if I did it again. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we both listened to the Diary of a CEO episode with Chris Williamson that just came out. They talked about the shame of small fears. Remember that part where he was like our ancestors would beg to have the problems that we have right now. Like if we went and told a caveman about, oh, like I have this fear of sending this email, and the caveman would be like, okay, well, are the enemies gonna see this email? And you're
Yeah.
like, no. Okay. Is a saber-toothed tiger gonna smell the message? No. Like, will it be etched in the wall for the rest of the time? And it's like, no. Well, what are you scared of? Like, in case somebody doesn't like it, somebody doesn't like
Yeah.
me, and the
I
caveman
know.
would just laugh at you, like. But then also going into, but you can't deny yourself the shame and the fear that you do have either. You can't like suppress it, so it's like this perfect balance. So, like, what did you take out of that part of the episode?
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that. I get like real bad imposter syndrome, like really
Mm,
bad. But I also think like partially my superpower is like coming off that I'm not totally nervous or super anxious. I think like I have really high anxiety, but my form of showing that is like locking in,
mm,
you
mm,
know?
mm-hmm.
And I think like to my own detriment, I kind of like purposely put myself there sometimes because I know that I perform really well when I'm like high stress,
Mm-hmm.
but also it like is a
Is that good
detriment to
for
my
your
health.
physical
Yeah,
body? Right.
definitely.
I know, because I just told Shannon that yesterday when she's like, "Well, what are we gonna do for the outline of this thing that I'm planning?" And I'm like, I work best under stress, so I'm gonna wait till a couple days before."
Literally, yeah, I do
But
the
then I can
same.
feel my chest being tight saying that. Like, okay, is that healthy though?
Definitely not. I mean, that's definitely something that I'm trying to work on. I think, you know what? Actually, I one of my resolutions. I'm not setting this in stone because I don't want
Mm,
to pigeonhole myself right now. But
mm,
I think the top spot right now for a resolution for me is get more sleep.
mm-hmm.
And I think like my entire life, I've sacrificed my own sleep for everything else.
Yep.
Like especially in college, I was like, there's that Venn diagram where like you can either have uh, social life, money, or sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't have all three. And I was like, well, definitely cutting sleep out.
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
working full time, going to school full time, and I would go out party
Yeah.
all the time. I'd stay up till 5 in the morning, knowing I had to work at 6 a.m. Like go straight to work from the bar, basically, or from my house, or from a friend's house. You know.
Yeah. And I know your sleep isn't still great because I'll wake up in the morning and like you got done editing an episode at like midnight or whatever.
Yeah.
And then with your casino job, like you were out late a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's like something that I'm really trying to work on too because like having my own business, but also like not having the confidence to do that completely full time and still relying on having a
Mm,
full-time job. Like
mm-hmm.
I have to give them the time that they need and want from me.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I can't work on stuff until after my kids go to sleep because they'd also deserve some time, and then my wife also deserves some time, and so it's
Mm-hmm.
like this
Mm-hmm.
this pie only has so many slices.
Mhm.
And so if sleep is one of the slices, I feel like that's the easiest one for me to neglect
Yeah.
or get rid of the fastest, you know?
Somebody told me this morning though about this book, The War of Art,
I've read it, yeah.
and
Or I
that's not,
listened to it on audiobook.
and that's about procrastinating, right?
Yeah, so it's like the muse, you know,
Okay.
like how distraction is the enemy, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
how distraction is basically the enemy of everything you want to get done,
Mm.
is how I kind of interpreted it.
Mhm.
And it's like any little distraction takes you out of anything that takes you out of flow state, basically. Like what
Mhm.
you're actively working on and locked in on, that is what you need to go to war against, you know?
Mm. Mhm. Cause yeah, I told you that last night. Like I didn't start working on your episode, like the outline, until last night. But like, cause I just kept pushing it off and pushing it off. But once I started, it was the funnest thing. I was like freaking out, doing my hand thing. Like this is the funnest thing. Like
Yeah.
you know. So why did I wait till last second? Cause then I didn't sleep good
Mhm.
because I was like needed to wake up early and double check it again. Whatever. Anyways, I think so. A week ago, when people asked me what my resolution was going to be, I was like, no, I make a resolution every Sunday and fail by Tuesday. Like, I'm not doing a resolution. But then after watching a few episodes that happened to be about resolutions and everything, I decided, like, this is crazy, but I'm going to finish 50 books this year.
Dang.
Not read 50 because I have at least a dozen that are halfway through.
Okay.
So, like,
So that's
kind of
almost one a week.
cheating.
That's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah,
a
a little
lot.
less than one a week. Some of them are going to be small, some of them ones that I've read before, and at least a dozen that I'm halfway through. Audiobooks count. But what I did is where my bed is and my TV is right here, and then my white wall, because I want to paint it next year, I wrote 1 through 50, and I'm going to write every book that I finish there. And so then it's going to be like, okay, I want to watch TV. Like, no, that wall is going to be staring at me.
Yeah.
Because just think what knowledge I'll have in a year if I
Yeah.
can read 50 freaking books.
Right.
Like, this is the year to do it. I don't have kids. I don't have grandkids yet. I don't have an annoying significant other trying to get me to do
Yeah.
other things. Like, this is the year to do it. So I'm committed. And yeah, on Diary of a CEO, they're like, you have to give something up. So mine's easy. It's just like TV.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge scroller, but
I
I
am.
obviously could less.
Yeah, definitely. That is one of my biggest detriments is that I do mindlessly scroll all the time
Mhm.
under the guise of I'm researching.
Yeah,
Like
right.
with
Your
my
brain has
job,
such
I
a good
need to
way. Yep.
stay on top of current events and what's going
Relevant.
on and best practices on social media and what posts are performing well from other people and why are they
Yeah.
performing well.
Yeah.
That's always in the back of my mind like you need to be doing this.
Yeah.
But I'm still absorbing mindless content for
Yeah.
hours. So I think that's what I need to cut out.
But if you quit your other job, if you quit your job, and then this was part of your job from
Yeah.
2 to 4 every day, I
Uh,
scroll because it's part of my job. And then you won't be doing it at night or times that you don't want to.
True. Yeah, and I have to be more intentional with it too,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like from this time to this time, I'm going to look up these specific pages. That's what I used to
Mm-hmm.
do and analyze real data, not just scroll, because I
Mm-hmm.
find myself like watching videos and like
Mm-hmm.
actually just getting
Mm-hmm.
sucked in. But the
Yeah.
craziest part is too, I listened to this one podcast talking about like if you scroll even under the guise of you're researching or trying to get something else out of it, think back like do you remember those videos that you
Right.
even watched? No.
No.
Maybe one,
Yeah.
but like I don't remember like that's just time gone
Mm-hmm.
that you just deleted.
Mm-hmm. There's too much information for you to be able to retain it all.
Yeah, our brains aren't meant to handle that.
Yeah,
You're
for
not
sure.
supposed to have 100 different points of information
Yeah.
in 30 seconds.
Right.
You know, you
Right.
just can't retain that.
No, the ones that I really want to remember, I save and say I'm gonna go back and watch again, and don't because that my brain wants new. So
Yeah, my
stupid.
watch later on my YouTube is crazy. I've
Yeah,
like,
isn't it like 4,000?
yeah, it's thousands of videos on my watch later. Some of them I
Yeah.
did watch and I just don't delete it off my watch later, so it's not all, but I'm gonna say 3/4 of that is videos that I have not watched that at some point I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch that later.
Yeah.
And I just never did.
I have to delete them or it stresses me out if I watch them, but I have like at least 100 in there just from this year. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's actually nuts. I mean, it's an interesting time that we're living in now with AI too, because on YouTube now they give you the AI summary
Mm-hmm.
of some of the videos.
Mm.
And so I find myself like now, like, this is really interesting if it'll say like top 10 books I read in 2020,
Yeah.
2025, but, this is what I got out of it. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
just find myself like, instead of watching the hour and a half long
Yeah.
show, I will literally read the AI summary, be like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to watch that now.
Yeah, I've been like the worst and typed in the episode name to AI and be like, okay, it says this expert is going to tell me this. Can you just tell me what they're going to tell me so I don't have to watch?
Yeah.
Like that's so horrible as
Yeah, I
somebody who
know.
I want people to watch my videos, but
I know.
there's just not enough time for everything.
No, there's not. There's not enough
Yeah.
time in the day is the
Mm-hmm.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with podcasts in general, like the standard being an hour to
Mm-hmm.
3 hours,
Mm-hmm.
like I'd only want to just watch the pieces that are relevant to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the hidden gem of it is like a lot of times when I watch the full episode, there's plenty that I get out of
Mm-hmm.
it that I didn't know that was in there or that I needed to hear,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
And if after one I write something down if I've written down one thing that I remember, like I feel like was a successful
Mm-hmm.
podcast time.
Yeah, so I mean, this goes back to the guise of saying that I'm researching.
Mm-hmm.
Before I started my podcast, I had never listened to a single podcast.
Really?
When we recorded our first episode, I had never listened to a podcast.
I didn't tell 2020 either, so yeah, makes
I
sense.
just knew that people talked,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, we can talk. That was the start. Then I'm like, okay, now I need to understand what the quote unquote the podcast is.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's all I did.
Mm.
And now I listen to podcasts more than music, even in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Car especially because I'm driving a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's such a strange thing.
So the other resolution that I'm doing right on the next wall next to that, I have days that I didn't go to the gym. And yesterday I didn't want to go to the gym, but I'm like, then I will put a mark there. And I don't have a bathroom on my main floor. So people that come over have to go upstairs and walk in my bedroom to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, not just for myself, but it'll be embarrassing if there's like 100 marks on there this year,
Yeah.
So that's my motivation too. And it's written in marker on my white wall. So I have to look at that all year. If you see me like bringing some
Yeah.
paint home, Veda, call me out.
Have you read Atomic Habits by James Clear?
That is definitely this month's book. Like,
It's so good.
I want to finish Creative Act, this Awake book,
Yeah.
Atomic Habits, the War of Art. Devin gave me an AI book he wants me to read for work. So yeah, I mean, it's just crazy.
So in Atomic Habits, that's one of the biggest quotes that people always quote from it. I think it was in that Chris Williamson, Stephen Bartlett podcast too. One missed day of whatever you want to do. The gym typically is what people reference this in, but one missed day is an error. 2 missed days is a habit. So give yourself some leeway, because the problem with a lot of resolutions is that when people say, I'm going to go to the gym every day, and they miss one day, you're done.
Yeah.
That ends it.
Right.
And then you have an excuse to not go for the rest of the year.
Yep.
So it's more like building the habit, So that's one thing that I've really tried to maintain, where it's you can take a day off, but don't take 2 days off, And that seems to work for me.
Yeah. And then I have on other walls, I have all these other check marks I can make. Like if I walk down to the river, I can give myself a check mark. If I journal, if I meditate for 10 minutes, if I do breathing exercises. So then I get that dopamine from making the check. And I want to walk by it and see as many checks as possible by the end of next year. Like I'll paint on New Year's Day.
Have you ever done an insights discovery test?
Yeah.
Like your colors or whatever it is, like red, blue, green, yellow?
Yeah.
Do you know what you are?
I can't remember right now. But yeah, I've done a bunch of tests like that.
At the casino, that's a big part of the gig.
Yeah.
I think any big corporate job, that's insights discovery is important, because then they know how to communicate with you, whatever.
Yep.
I'm 90% yellow, which is super extroverted. My biggest eye-opening, I always thought this was really woo-woo and you can't pigeonhole me to a specific personality, whatever.
Yeah.
But this was really eye-opening for me, because it said my advantages are that I can pick up tasks and run with it really quick, that I can go all in and make a good quality product if it's a project that I'm working on. But my disadvantages is that I always lack preparation, and that I lack the ability to stay analytical. So when you talk about making check marks, do you find yourself having it be bothersome at all? Because if I hold myself to that kind of regimen, I find myself like annoyed with having to task myself on that.
No, I love check marks more than anything. Like, I love having a list of things to do and cross them off or check them off.
Mm,
So this is perfect for me.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone is so different. So that's always
Right.
so interesting to me.
Right. That's why
Yeah,
I'm so
I
excited.
would be curious to know
I
what your
know.
color is on the insight thing, you know?
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I know the color test I took when I worked at Lakes and Pines, and that was like 2012. So I'm not sure. But like other networking things I do, there's other tests like that to
Yeah,
take. And yeah, I love personality tests.
I do too. I've always thought they were kind of silly, that they like didn't really matter
Yeah.
until this insights one, and I'm like, damn, this is like,
How
as
do
I'm
they
reading
know
through
me?
this, I'm like, this really is me.
Yeah.
Like all the good
Funny.
and all the bad. I was like, wow, this is really eye-opening.
Yeah.
And my
Right.
wife and I couldn't be more opposite in that regard, you know?
Yeah.
Especially like how we were raised is so different too, that like how we communicate
Yeah.
is so different, that like looking back to when we first got together, that's like a lot of these friction points are just we're two totally different personalities.
So that's why it's so helpful to know what your personality is, and everybody at work should have like a
Yeah.
color above their desk so it can be like, oh, that's why they didn't do that.
Uh-huh.
That's why like they literally don't care about cleaning their washing their dishes after themselves because their brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Instead of like being mad at them, like give them some more space or whatever. Yeah.
When I
There's
first
so
took that
much.
insights test, they had this app called Clover that would like input everyone's insight data into it. And then if you had a meeting coming up with one person, it would tell you like how they effectively communicate and how you should present ideas to them and how you should collaborate with them.
That's so
So like
cool.
there was this girl that I work with, I don't want to name her just in case she listens to this, but I feel like really butted heads. Not that I didn't like her, but I just didn't like communicating with her because it was always like she has a much different idea of on how this needs to go, and it's like, don't tell me what I need to do, like I know how to do my job, like don't do
Mm-hmm.
my job for me. But come to find out, she's just the exact opposite of me. She's like 90% blue, which is more
Mm,
analytical, more planning,
mm-hmm.
more, the execution part for her is so small, whereas for me it's like that's the whole thing, is the execution. Like screw planning, like let's
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah. I
And
might be
she's the
both.
opposite. So it's
Yeah.
it's really interesting to see those little things and like
Yeah.
how you should be talking to people, because like they'll not only will they
Mm-hmm.
listen better, but you'll probably have a much better experience because you're like
Yeah.
speaking their language, you know?
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure. And then that just helps us be open minded with the next person and
Yeah,
the next person.
definitely.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you sent me the Modern Wisdom annual review that they talked about in that episode. So, my favorite questions from that. Did you fill it out?
I'm like 75% of the way through it.
Okay.
It's a lot longer than I expected.
Yeah. I only filled out like half of them. Like half of them, I'm like, this doesn't even pertain to me, whatever. But
Yeah.
what habit or system accounted for most of your success in the last year?
Sleep, no doubt.
Wow.
This is what made me think of sleep needs to be a priority for
Mm-hmm.
2026 for me. I think partially just because I'm getting older and I notice it a lot more. At 21, I could literally get no sleep and still function to
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, looking back, maybe it wasn't even really functioning, but what I thought was optimal. Like I could
Mm-hmm.
convince myself I am totally wide awake, I'm totally fine
Yeah.
off of no sleep, like not sleeping at all and just going straight to work from my friend's house, like I was talking about.
Yeah.
But looking at 2025, every single time that I got a good night's sleep, I always was more efficient the next day. I think clearer. I do better work. I'm way less agitated. Like, I'm nicer to everyone. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely get in modes, especially at home with my wife, where it's like, if I'm super stressed out, like, I get really snappy.
Mm.
Like something's out of place, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is like the end of the whole day,
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't get that way when I'm not tired
Yeah.
or stressed out, but I think stress directly correlates with it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Get an aura ring.
I have it.
Oh, how long have you had it?
I got it like last summer, probably.
Okay.
Taylor convinced me because my watch was broken. My Apple Watch broke, and I was like, actually, no, it was September. This was when I got my new phone. Um, Taylor's like, you should just get an Aura ring. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't give you notifications. That's like the distraction.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think it is so cool,
Mhm.
specifically for the sleep and the stress thing, like tracking my sleep and my stress. And
Yeah.
that has been a big eye opener too. Like,
Yeah.
the more I sleep, the less stressed the next day I am.
Mhm.
Every single time. It's a no brainer.
Yeah,
Now I
same
just got to
thing. If
force
I
myself to
don't get
sleep.
enough sleep and then I see one thing out of place, it's like everything crashes. I have to clean every cupboard, like, and I don't because I
Yes.
calmed down before, but in my head, I'm like, I have to burn my whole house down and
Mm-hmm.
clean it, you
Yeah.
know? It's
Yes.
so funny how it adds up like that.
Yeah. It's like the most important thing, and it's the thing that I've neglected my entire life.
Hmm.
It's the easiest thing to throw away. It's like
Right.
the one thing you can control.
Hmm.
And I just never do it. So yeah, okay. You know what? I am pigeonholing myself. I'm just gonna sleep more. 2026.
Sleep, sleep. Yeah, what would you do this year if you wanted to make 85-year-old you miserable?
Sleep less,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah.
I would say this was one of those questions on the sheet when I'm going through and like this is kind of eye opening.
Yeah.
I would work out less. I've
Yep.
definitely been slacking. We've been taking so many trips lately, and the kids have been so busy and going through these like phases where they just need more attention from us. And I've been less active than I have been the last like year in total in the last like 4 or 5 weeks probably, and I notice it.
Hmm.
Like my attention is less, my productivity is less. I'm not optimizing myself to get more work done or better work done. I'm just kind of like coasting. So I think if I wanted 85-year-old me to hate me, I would work out less and I would sleep less. I think those are two of the most important things. And they're so simple and it sounds so canned
And you
because I
feel
feel
so
like
good with both of them.
I've heard it so many times in my entire life, but now is the first time in my entire life that I really truly believe that.
Mm.
Like sleep and activity are the most important things because like if I go to the gym in the morning, hit the sauna, and then shower and I like start the day with like a workout, I'm clean.
Hmm.
It's like, whoa, I'm so focused and I'm so present that it's like kind of a life hack.
Yeah, that's why, yeah, maybe I should journal every day in the morning. And the days that I don't start my days like that, I'll be able to look back and realize how much worse I feel because I know that's so true.
So important.
Yeah. Hey, are you a stoic? Are you into the stoics, I mean?
Um, kind of. I think I'm too emotional to like really buy into it. you know,
Yeah.
I would love to be,
Yeah.
but I think I'm too emotionally driven.
Okay.
Like, I think that's, I don't even know if this is true or not, but this feels like that's what makes me high performing when I'm stressed out because I care
Mm.
and I get emotional about what I'm
Yeah.
doing, you know?
Yeah.
Not necessarily sad when I say emotional, but just like I care.
Hmm.
And that's what makes me perform more. So I think I've kind of just like perpetually put myself in this spot of being emotional to the point where like that's what determines my motivation.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Hmm. Hmm.
But I don't know. Are you?
Yeah, well, I want to be more. Marcus Aurelius's biggest thing is journaling. He says that's like the key to success.
That for me feels so analytical and I want to so bad.
Yeah.
I've
And when I
had this
have looked,
journaling app on my phone for like 3 years and I've never used it once.
yeah.
It feels like so but I'm like putting myself in this box of like you have to do this task
Hmm.
today. And I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel good to even tell myself what I have to do.
I
I don't
know.
want anybody telling me what to do,
I
let alone
know.
myself.
I'm really bad with authority in that regard too.
Yeah.
And even myself, like if
Yeah.
I'm trying to pose tasks on myself, like
Yeah.
I'm really hard with that. So I can't. Do you journal every day?
That's one of my things that I'll give myself a check mark when I do. Because when I have looked back at journals, I've like been so surprised at what I said and what I
Yeah.
felt in the past that I'm like, okay,
You
that
forget.
does sound important. So it is a goal to journal every day. I just haven't really decided what time of the day I would. So I'm thinking, yeah, in the morning, so I can look back and be like, every day that you start your
Hmm.
day how you want to. And then it's like, yeah, what is more important than sleep or exercise? Because it's really hard for me to wrap my head around that I should sleep in instead of waking up and exercising, but sleep
Yeah,
is so important too. I
it
don't
is.
know.
Yeah, so it's like if you have to pick, what do you pick? I never ever considered journaling until I read the book Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. And I remember thinking like, dang, this guy's journaled for like 35 years, or maybe it was longer, I can't remember,
Mm-hmm.
every single day, never missed a day. And I was like, wow, the insights that he got for this book from
Mm-hmm.
doing that for so long and like seeing these patterns, like that is so valuable. But then I'm thinking like, where would I keep all that?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I lose it or if it burns or if something
But in the
happens to
app,
it.
it should never go anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still don't do it. I should
Okay.
start. Maybe that'll be a 2026 thing.
Yeah. The last question from that annual review that I liked was, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself 12 months ago?
Care less
Mm.
about what other people think because everyone else is too worried about caring about themselves anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't even notice what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you so focused on their opinion of you
Mm-hmm.
if it really doesn't matter?
So true.
It feels so huge in the moment, but later on you realize how small it is and how much that impacted your happiness at the time too. One quote from that Diary of a CEO episode with Chris Williamson that really stuck out to me was, I can't remember who it was from, but it said, let go or get dragged. That is like so true. Like you have to let go of everyone's opinion. Otherwise you just keep getting dragged behind this idea and you're just constantly getting beat up for it only to realize like, why did you even hang on in the first place?
On my notes app, that's the first thing that's pinned. It says, let go or be dragged.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really true. Have you read The Alchemist?
Mm-mm.
That's on my list. I haven't read it yet, but I just listened to this like synopsis of what it means, you know.
Mm.
It's basically like this guy goes on this super long journey only to realize like what he really wanted was right where he was in the beginning. And I
Mm.
think like that goes really along well with let go or get dragged.
Doesn't he tell that story, Chris Williamson, of like the guy says, oh, I'm probably going to butcher this, but he's like, oh, you should do this so that you can do this. And then he
Yeah,
spends his whole life.
The Spanish fisherman,
Yeah.
an American fisherman meets a Spanish fisherman, and the Spanish fisherman is just fishing by himself every day. And the American says, you should hire your friends to fish for you so you can sell the fish. And then you can afford to um, buy more boats. And then you can afford to pay more people. And then you can commercialize it and sell your fish at the markets. And then you can have more time with your family. But it's like he already has time with his family. So why would he want to do that?
Yeah. And
You
he
know?
already gets to fish, which he loves to do.
Yeah,
Like, you'll have more time for your family and to fish. Like, that's what I do right now. Why would I do all those things?
exactly.
Yep.
It's like capitalism injected into every idea, you know?
Mm.
And maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's the wrong way to think about it, but that's always my mentality goes there too, and it's so
Mm-hmm.
bad. And that's one thing that I realized with getting into media and digital creative is that like when you commercialize your hobby, it changes your perspective over time of it.
Mm.
And it definitely changes the way that you do it
Mm-hmm.
because it can't necessarily be a hobby anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really have to be careful when you're commercializing your hobbies or
Mm-hmm.
trying to make money off of your hobbies. And that was something that I always grew up. I grew up in a bar and restaurant. My family owns Wings North in Pine City, and it's a hunting club. So like top priority was like we're working,
Mm-hmm.
but we're gonna have fun while we work because it was always like friends and family
Mm.
are the members of Wings North, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole philosophy growing up is like you have to love what you do. So just convince yourself that it's fun
Mm-hmm.
and it will be fun. And that basically just everything is perspective,
Mm.
you know? So like someone would kill to just be happy working. So
Mm-hmm.
just be happy doing what you're doing. But now I've realized like switching gears from now doing something that I just genuinely love doing and making money on that, it changes things for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were just talking about this on family vacation. My grandma was going to hire a professional photographer to take pictures of us on the beach when we went on vacation to go visit my grandparents. And it was the first time that my dad's whole side of the family was like together in one
Mm-hmm.
spot, especially now that we all have kids and it's just hard.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandma was going to hire a professional photographer. I'm like, no way. Like, I'll just bring my camera and tripod And then I had my camera there, so I was like, why don't I just take pictures of everyone's kids and their families individually and just like candids around the house when I think of it and whatever. And then my wife and I got to talking about like, why don't you ever bring your camera on trips? Like these photos are awesome. And then I started thinking like, damn, it kind of feels like work. Like this is what I do for work.
Right.
So like I don't want to do that. It was fun once I'm doing it because then I remembered like, oh, I do enjoy doing this, and that's how I started doing it.
But if you think of it as work, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like the boundary of commercializing your art or commercializing your hobby.
Yeah.
It's definitely a slippery slope
Yeah.
because I'm sure a lot of people would have a better time with this than I would, but I definitely get in this mode of like, it feels like work. I don't really want to do it. But that's what I love to do. So, like, it's this weird paradox.
Yeah. My mom talked about, oh, you could move to Duluth because it's so beautiful, but then it's not going to be this beautiful place to go visit.
Yeah,
It's kind of like that.
totally.
So I guess it just depends on the people, because some people probably wake up in Duluth every morning and are happy they're there.
I totally agree. When I was a kid, my parents split up when I was like 6 years old. And not long after that, my mom moved to North Dakota because that's where she's from. So I only got to go visit her like once or twice a year. So every time that I was there, I was like, this place is awesome. You know, like my mom would let me sleep in all the time and I could stay out as late as I wanted and I could eat whatever I wanted and do whatever I wanted. She always bought me like the new Xbox and the new games and it was so much fun. So when I went to college, I was like, I'm moving to Grand Forks, North Dakota because that place is awesome. And then I lived there. Not that it wasn't awesome. I do actually genuinely love the town, but it's not the same because it's not this once a year thing. It's now I'm here all the time. So it changes your perspective on it for sure. Yeah, so I could see that. Yeah, if you move to Duluth, it's no longer this like really beautiful fall tourist area. It's your home that just gets really busy when the trees turn pretty. You know?
Yeah.
It's like a totally different perspective.
So yeah, I guess you have to think about that when you're deciding what to do with your life. You know, is this going to ruin this hobby for me, or is it going to mean that I love what I do all day, every day? And maybe we can all have either one. It's just a mind state shift.
Yeah, it's so tough because again, it's just one of those things that's all perspective because when I was selling cars, I would have told you like I will literally give anything to be doing creative work all day and not sell cars.
Yeah.
But now that I am doing creative work all day every day, I'm like, damn, some structure being able to clock out at 5 p.m. would be kind of cool. You know? Now it's just myself putting my own schedule together. And it's like
Being
I definitely don't clock out
self-motivated.
at 5 p.m. and my phone never leaves my pocket, you know? Or I mean, it always leaves my pocket. I'm always on it because I'm always answering emails, texts, whatever, you know? So like, that's just part of it. But starting the podcast in 2020, I remember thinking like, if I could pay my bills because of doing something that I love, like that would change my whole life. And I do think that did. I think that's real happiness. Like being able to sustain your lifestyle with doing what you choose to do versus something that you feel like you have to do. Like that to me unlocked a different part of my brain, no doubt.
I always tell people, be careful when you tell me about your dreams, because I'm going to be the one that's like pushing you to do it constantly.
Yeah.
You know, I've kind of done
Yeah.
that to you.
Uh-huh.
I like backed off because I understand. Um, like, you just have to let people do what they want to do. And I mean, this is a new perspective too of maybe if things are a hobby for people, I shouldn't push them. Like, but yeah, growing up in a family business, it's like my brain automatically goes to like, how do you monetize everything?
Same.
Because
Me too.
work is fun.
Yeah.
Let's make it fun. So
Yeah, and also like the ability to find the small pieces that you can capitalize on too is that's definitely kind of a superpower because a lot of people do things for free to the detriment of their own lifestyle or their own happiness because like if you can't sustain what you're doing and you have to give it up, that's almost worse.
yeah, but the other side is like we talked about on an episode a week or two ago with Veda, or like talking about how I talked about with Veda that you should write just to write, not to make a thing out of it, too, you know? So it's
Right.
like, I don't know, both sides.
Yeah, and it's tough because for me, like that insertion into my life would be like, you should just make videos to make videos. Like,
Yeah.
who cares if you make money on it? Then I'm like, dang, okay, well, that 8 hours to 2 days worth of work that I put into that, I could have been spent making money on something
Yeah.
or doing something for someone else that they're willing to pay me for or
Yeah.
whatever. And that money that I get from that, I could use to better my family or like my lifestyle or save for my kids' future or whatever, you know. So, and I think that's a slippery slope because you can really put yourself in a bad mental state under the guise of I'm doing it to better myself, but you're
Mm-hmm.
not really bettering yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely guilty of that.
It's such a balance. I heard and I can see it that you have an insane drive and commitment to every wild idea that comes to
Yeah.
your mind. Do you
Yeah.
have any examples? And where do you think this comes from?
Well, the podcast for sure. Like, just I wanted to, in my mind, and it's changed form so many times, but in 2020, I wanted so badly to be like the guy, the go-to guy for like, I want a creative ad agency to do this video for me. Like, who do I talk to? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
want to be like, oh, Cody is who I need to talk to do this. You know, like I wanted that so bad that, like I said, I hadn't even listened to a single podcast. I was like, I just know that that they're talking. You can
Mm-hmm.
talk about anything. So if that's the only difference, that's what I'll do.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember without even knowing how to run any of the equipment or how anything even gets connected, I ordered microphones, mic stands, a board, memory cards. I had done a little bit of videography work, so like I so I kind of knew an idea of how it worked. I knew the camera side. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, how hard would audio be to figure out? So I literally just bought everything. I mean, like I had basically no money to my name and I spent $2,500 on all the podcast equipment. I'm like, we're podcasters now. To me and three of my friends. They're like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then a couple months later, bought a studio, bought an office that they're like, we're not even making any money. Like, why are you renting this place? I was paying someone to help me edit it because I was selling cars full time. And that became way too much. I'm like, I am just going to have to learn it myself. I cannot afford to pay this person. Like, I'm bleeding myself dry.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot do this. And so, yeah, basically just went all in until it worked. And my whole mindset the entire time was that it, the only way that it can't work is if I stop doing it. But it led me to some crazy paths. I mean, I worked at Betcha, which is like the biggest Midwest podcast and content channel, you know, probably ever in the terms of the internet in the Midwest, I guess. And that was strictly because of the podcast. Like Miles was our 10th guest on the podcast, 10th episode. I paid $300 to have him on. and and we just kind of hit it off, me and his business manager at the time. And then I would just like she did terrible mistake giving me her phone number because I would text her be like, "Hey, how does this work? Like how do you get people to pay you to read ads?
Yeah.
How do you get people to edit? Like how do you train someone in? How do you do like more of like the logistics of it?" I would text her all the time. And she'd be like, "I don't have time to text you back. Call me at 5." And so I'd call her and I'd just talk her ear off. She'd finally be like, "All right, you're just gonna have to talk to Tyler," which is now
Yeah.
the manager there, the content manager. And yeah, basically they started some golf channel and met up with them in Fargo because we're like, hey, we should do some sort of a collaboration. And so we like had him on our podcast, and as a joke, we're like, yeah, we're coming up there tomorrow. We're gonna go golf at a simulator with you guys, and we're gonna beat you or whatever. Completely as a joke, and they're like, all right, see you tomorrow. So we're like, well, now we got to do it. Like this
Yeah.
is such a cool opportunity to go hang out with these guys that we're genuinely fans of, and we really hit it off. And they're like, hey, we got a job opening coming up. Like you should move up here. And I was like, Taylor's gonna kill me. So we had just bought a house not that long before in Pine City. I was like, damn, all right, we're going to sell the house. Sold it to a friend and then moved to Fargo. I lived there by myself for 6 months. And then Taylor moved up there. She had just finished school. She had like 3 months left of school. So she moves up there. And then, like, after a month of her living there, I'm like, hey, I don't think I want to work here anymore. I kind of want to do my own thing. I was like, I feel like, and this is definitely a mindset thing at the time. I don't think I would feel that way at this point, but I was like, I feel like I'm doing 90% of the work for 1% of the reward. Like, I just want to do this for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, you're joking. Like, I literally moved my entire life 4 hours away, and now you want to leave? And so, yeah, I left and then just started my own thing. And the podcast did really, really good right after that because I just like literally went all in. For like 4 months, probably that's all I did full time. Worked on the podcast, probably 60 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours a week into it at some points. And it was doing really good, getting really good traction, millions of views, ton of advertising dollars. Like it was so much fun. But then it's like we just started getting older, and like my friends started. It was like the channel was all about like a beer drinking, basically like conversations you would have at a bar with your friend, and that was kind of all we did was like hang out at the bar and have fun. And none of us had kids, and none of us had wives, and now between us there's three of us are married, there's six kids between all four of us, so it just like slowly but surely one by one everyone kind of started backing out, and I just stayed with it, but again to the detriment of my sleep, of my hobbies, of probably my relationship. And so it was just easier to be like, you know what, I'm just going to do it when I want to do it. But now I'm just so busy, we just don't do it. The
Mm.
last time we recorded, I think, was like March of last year. It's coming up on almost a year of no recording.
Yeah. It's like casual, but the discipline is important for a reason because then if you don't have that, like when are you going to do it?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's so tough. I don't know. I don't even remember what you asked. I feel like I just kind of rambled on you.
Well, I hope you don't lose that insane drive if like in your 30s now because it gets harder. I mean, for me at least, I did all sorts of wild stuff in my 20s and 30s, and it just gets harder though. You would think like because you've done it, you'll be able to do it more, but you get older and
Yeah.
things get scarier and it's harder to take risks.
Yeah,
So
it really is.
look at all the paths that brought you on by
True.
going all out on that.
Yeah, very true. Had I never accepted that job, I would have been like, that would have been my what if for the rest of my life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what if I would have done that?
Mm-hmm.
And it was so cool. I think had I got that job right out of high school, I probably would still be there to this day because it was so cool getting to meet all these celebrities and going on these trips and getting to golf for my job. Like, just go video people golfing for my job and
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with the guys. Like, there was a huge beer fridge that we had a deal with Busch Light at the time. Huge beer fridge that gets restocked every single month with a pallet of Busch Light, and you can drink at work. The only prerequisite is that you
Yeah.
just had to get your work done.
Wow.
Like, done, easy.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
So does any part of you wish that you were still there?
I mean, a little bit, but I think that would be a lot different now than it was at the time, because at the time I was kind of like the youngest guy there. I was new. I had fresh ideas. I was the first million view video they got with Breakfast Ball, their golf channel. So like that was like a big accomplishment. But I think it would look much different now. I think I would have a much more reserved take on it. Before, I was like, I'm willing to do anything. I will stay here till 3 in the morning. And I did. I would stay there till like 3, 4 in the morning editing, and then get there again at 6 in the morning to start editing again. Like I was just excited. I was fired up. But now having kids, like that's the time that I would rather be with my kids
Right.
than working on that. So I think it would be much different now. If the money was better, maybe I would consider it. But I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah.
It's For me, it's like, while I don't make, an unlimited amount of money now, the opportunity is so much higher if there's no ceiling on it.
Mm-hmm.
And just the opportunity, the muse of this opportunity, regardless if it's really there or not, just the idea of it being there for me is enough to make me not want to work for someone else,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, without the opportunity to feel like I want to earn more. Because before I had left Betcha, I did approach them 2 separate times and say, hey, I love this job. I would literally do anything. I just want to make more money. Like, that's my thing.
Yeah.
I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I love what I'm doing, but I live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And I was living in an apartment. I didn't have anything besides a car payment. I'm like, I feel like I should be able to save money. I don't have anything, you know? Not
Mm-hmm.
that's what it was about, but it was like, I want to be able to like save money.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to buy a house at some point if I'm going to stay here. I don't want to live in an apartment forever.
And growing up in a business family,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
definitely. I was like, I will literally do anything you want me to do. I just need to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like small raises. And then the second time I'm like, I got to go do my own thing.
Yeah. Can you tell me about the spaghetti theory? I don't know anything about it.
The spaghetti theory. Yeah. So you just, when you're cooking noodles, how you can tell if it's done is when you throw it at the cupboard and it sticks. That's how
Mm-hmm.
you know that the spaghetti's done. So basically, the spaghetti theory is like you throw a bunch of noodles at the wall until one sticks,
Mm.
and then that's your thing, you know? So
I like
that's
it.
my interpretation of the spaghetti theory, I guess. That maybe that's not even
Mm-hmm.
the right explanation. That's how I've always taken it. It's
Oh,
like
I
you
like
just
it.
keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going until something works, and it's like then triple down on that thing.
Okay. I like it. What do you think life wants out of you?
I don't even know. I know you asked me this question. I'm having a tough time thinking about this because I think selfishly, I want it to be like my work is like what life wants out of me. But I think it's probably more on like me helping people achieve their own creative aspirations.
Why do you think that? Why is it wrong to think that your own work can't be beautiful and change lives?
I think a lot of it is that I'm so hard on myself about the perfectionist aspect of everything that I do, especially if it's for myself, that it's just never good enough. Like it's never done.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I just pick a point where it's like, all right, I'll just stop here.
What would Rick Rubin say about that?
Probably wouldn't agree with that. Yeah, that would definitely not be kosher with the creative act. That's for sure. Um, that is one thing in the creative act that he does say is like nothing really is done. You just decide when it's done. Because the more you keep touching it, the more you keep working with it, the worse it gets. You just have to find a good point that you're like satisfied with. And I feel like I just don't ever get that with my own work for some reason.
Maybe you need a theme for your journaling, and maybe it could be that, like trying to change your mind state. Like what can I write about every day that will change my mind state into believing that my work is just as important as helping other people. I mean, I think the point to life is service. So I think you're onto something there too. But how you said that made me think that you just need to accept that you also have the art inside of you that the world needs to see.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. But that's really, really, really hard for my mind to wrap around for some
Yeah.
reason.
Oh, I
And I
think it is most
think
people, including me. I'm not preaching.
part of it, I think for me, is also like I'm very self aware. And I think like I'm a very big critic of myself. And
Mhm.
anything that I put out, like I said, if I look back at something that I did myself for myself like a year ago, I'm like, oh God, I would change so much about this.
Mhm.
So I think that's partially a deterrence for me too, you know?
Mhm. What excited you most when you were a kid?
I think like learning new things. I remember like getting this philosophy book from my aunt. I think it was an accident even. I don't even know if she meant to give it to me, but it was called the I know I'm butchering this name. I always say it wrong. The Tao of Piglet, the Tay of Piglet,
Tao.
Tao of Piglet. It's like it's a Chinese philosophy book,
Yeah.
and I remember reading this at like 10 years old
Wow.
and being like, "Whoa, this is wild." And there's a poo one too. There's a piglet one and a poo one. And I read both of them really young, and then yeah, I guess that really excited me. Like
Cool.
learning new perspectives, like
Yeah.
thinking like, oh wow, like how I thought you're supposed to think about things is not really, you know, there's not one way. There's so many perspectives that people can give here about the same thing. Oh, that's why I don't get along with this person, because they view life like this.
My first tattoo was supposed to be the word perspective on my arm because I was obsessed with the idea of different perspectives also. And that's kind of what you have done with your life is you're videoing and angling different perspectives in how you see it and how you want other people to see it.
Definitely. I had this this like really funny theory when I was like 12 years old that like if you could read people's thoughts that you would never be able to understand what they're actually saying because like how they learn about something is totally different from how you learn about something
Yeah.
and how they view it. Like if I'm thinking about the color green, I'm thinking about grass, trees,
Yeah.
money, whatever. You know, so like that interpretation in thought process is like it's not English,
Yep.
you know, so it would just be like a jumbled garbage of memories that you would be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You know? So I thought to myself, like, dang, if I could like listen to what the people are thinking, I would have no clue what they're saying.
Wow. I
Because
always
everyone's
think
so
about how,
different.
like, even twins will see their mom as a different person. Like, nobody sees you as the same person. Your two sons see you as a completely different person, even if they were born at the same time, because
Yeah.
they're looking at you from different angles. One of them sees you steal an extra
Mm-hmm.
cookie out of the cookie jar, and the other one doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to change their perception of you forever.
Yeah, and I'm
So you
also
are a different person to every single person in the
every
world.
single moment, yeah, and I'm interacting with them differently too.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's wild. It's all perspective.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
And even if both kids saw you steal the cookie out of the cookie jar, their perspective of what that means about you is different. Oh my God. So we are just like you can never nail down what somebody is
Yeah.
because we are just light. We're just a million different peoples. We're just fragments of everybody else's imagination.
Yes.
Like
Well, and that's the thing too, because like even your perspective changes based on everyone else's perspective. How people
collectively.
interact with you also
Yeah.
forms your own opinion of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that has changed a lot in my mind too. The older that I've got, I've cared less about what other people think because it's like, well, like what I'm doing is it's either working or
Hmm.
like whatever way you're trying to impose on me. I know that that doesn't work for my life, so like that doesn't
And in a
matter to
hundred
me.
years, we're all going to be dead and
Yeah,
nobody's going to know
no one's gonna know
anybody's
my
name.
name in 100 years.
Yeah.
I mean, there's such a so few. I mean, how does that quote go? It's like, how many people can you name from 100 years ago?
Yeah.
I could probably go five.
Yeah. Do you know your great great grandparents' names?
Nope.
I don't.
Two greats? No, I don't.
No.
And that's crazy. It's like without them, I wouldn't be here. They're
Yeah.
pretty damn important.
Right?
Yeah. I don't even know what they did.
Right. So I've never asked you what you believe spiritually. Why do you think we came to this planet and to this human form?
Yeah, that is crazy to think about. I don't know. I spent a lot of time thinking about this when I was a kid. I went to Catholic school from preschool through sixth grade. And I think like being so exposed to that idea of what spirituality is really turned me off of the idea of religion as a structure. And I think I have more of like a fluid idea of what spirituality is to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I definitely don't think that we're in control of our own destiny from the standpoint of like us as a race, but I do at the same time, I guess. I think I take more of like a Buddhist mentality of it, where it's like everything is a net and all the connections on the net, like every point that crosses is a person or an interaction or an idea, and that everything's just kind of connected. All life, you know, the earth is living and breathing. You know, I guess like that's kind of my philosophy on. But even saying it out loud seems like, ugh, I don't even. You know what I mean? There's no way to really put it into words. I guess how I feel somewhere in between a regular quote unquote religion and like that just everything is kind of the same and we're all kind of the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I believe we're all God. Like everything is, every single little atom and molecule
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
experiencing, and it's, or the universe, it's God or the universe just experiencing life through us.
Yeah.
Like we got put in this body to experience it through this lens.
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird. I am grateful for growing up in a Catholic faith, just because I
Yeah.
think it's very structured. And when
Mm.
you take out the author entirely, like the rules that
Mm.
really are written in the religion are good to live by. Like
Mhm.
just don't be an asshole. Be
Mhm.
good to everyone else. Don't
Mhm.
steal. Like at its basis, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But it feels a little culty when everyone's like singing together in unison and like praising this one guy at the front of the room. It just feels weird to me. I don't like that
Totally.
aspect of it.
Totally.
No shade to anyone that does believe in that. It's just like that's not for me for some reason.
Mhm.
Not that I don't believe in it, but I just like I don't feel it. I'm like this feels weird. This
Mhm.
feels like I'm a cog in a wheel and less of like there's meaning to this. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I do. Yeah. So you gave me the book, The Creative Act: A Way of Being by Rick Rubin, and I love every line of the book that I've read. But this is the one I decided to bring up. He says, "When we repeat the exercise of opening our senses to what is, we move closer to living in a continually open state. We build a habit, eating meals mindfully, slowly savoring each bite with appreciation, taking daily walks in nature, looking at everything, entering a field of vision with gratitude and connection, taking time to marvel at the feeling of our heartbeat and the movement of our blood through our veins." Are you good at practicing mindfulness?
No.
Did the book make you want to be?
Yeah, definitely. It's like I feel like I keep myself so busy to the point where like that smaller inner voice, I don't hear that a lot, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely the most important. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't, like there's so much noise that I sometimes miss the signal. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not mindful enough of what is going on. I'm not as present sometimes as what I could be
Mm-hmm.
because of that.
And he says the purpose of such exercises is not necessarily in the doing, just as the goal of meditation isn't in meditation. The purpose is to evolve the way that we see the world when we aren't engaged in these acts. We're building the musculature of our psyche to more acutely tune in.
Yeah.
Just really like that.
The Creative Act is like the best book that I've never read. I've never read it all the way through
Yeah, I
because
haven't
the
yet
first
either.
time that I ever heard of it was an interview with Rick Rubin, and it was with Cole Bennett, and him saying that every time you open the book, regardless of where you open it to, it should feel relevant to whatever you have going on at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you get to that same part, it was going to mean something totally different. And so I've literally never read the book start to finish. I've I think I've listened to the audiobook start to finish, but the book itself I literally would just like open up a random page and start reading, and I feel like I get so much more out of it from that cuz it's
Mm-hmm.
less like a graphic novel and more like a rule book, where it's
A
like
Bible for art, because
sort
yeah,
of,
you can
yeah.
open up to any page. The chapter that I read last night didn't really pertain to me, but when Veda got here, we haven't seen each other in a while because it's been Christmas break, and what I read last night pertained to something I was excited to tell
Yeah.
her after she brought something up. So just never know.
It's weird
But
how that works. It always is like that. It's cool. It's the best book I've never read.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he says when you're working on a project, you might notice apparent coincidences appearing more often than randomness allows, almost as if there's another hand guiding yours in a certain direction, as if there is an inner knowing gently informing your moments. Has that ever happened to you?
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, when I started video editing, for sure I noticed that where it's like patterns come up that are like I didn't really think to do that, but that's just the way that it happened because of this other thing that I do or whatever, and it's like that's a weird coincidence.
Yeah. It's hard to get through the book because it's intense because it really makes you want to be more present and more aware, and that's really
Yes.
hard. It
Yes.
is.
It really is because it kind of means sacrificing what you think you want,
Mhm.
you know?
Mm. Mhm. When you aren't feeling creative, what do you do?
When I'm not feeling creative, what do I do? To be honest with you, I don't really feel creative at all. I would say rarely do I really feel like this is a new idea
Mm.
and this is something that I'm actually creating. I think when I'm not feeling creative, I am in a mode of, I guess, sustainability or like a worker bee mentality. Like
Mhm.
here's the task, get it done.
Mhm.
I guess it's either creative or that, but I feel like more in the worker bee mentality.
Yeah. So if you quit your job, you'd have more time for that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we're going to get into the segment where I reveal to you how the people in your life see you. So I asked you to give me a list of people I could reach out to describe you, and then I put those words in a theme so you could see, because I think part of the human experience is that we don't see ourselves as good as other people see us. So, do you have any guesses?
I'm kind of nervous.
Are
I
you?
think like I think the people that I gave you will say that I overwork myself, that I am always busy, and that I fill my plate with a lot.
Well, so I'm not sure how many people notice this, that everything is like themed around an S for
Oh
Supernaut.
yeah.
Like every episode starts with an S. And the only reason, so I tell people pick 6 or 7 people, and then they're gonna each give me 6 or 7 words. And it was just like 2 weeks ago that I'm like, Veda, 6, 7. Like that was not on purpose. It's just because they both start with S's, you know?
Yeah.
But it's so funny. One of your people was like, I can't narrow it down to 6 or 7. I have like 20 words. And I'm like, that's okay. Yeah, you can send me 20.
Was that my mom?
Maybe.
Yeah, I can totally see her saying that.
So yeah, your first word is kind, because 4 people said kind or kind hearted, and 2 said caring, 2 said sincere, loving, compassionate, generous, giving, selfless, faithful, genuine, honest, understanding, considerate, devoted, trusting, helpful, and dependable. And your second word is kind of might go in with what you pictured as determined. Strong willed, strong minded, brave, daring, driven, diligent, ambitious, and motivated. So they see it in a good way.
That is a kind way to spin it for sure.
And the third word is uplifting. 3 people said optimistic, 2 said humorous, 2 said witty, warm, lively, guiding, bright, enthusiastic, outgoing, supportive, dynamic, funny, and silly. And fourth, of course, is creative. 3 people said creative and imaginative, innovative, philosophical, wise, open minded, and passionate. And fifth is charismatic. Handsome came up 3 times, but that was all by the same person.
Okay.
She just couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Attractive, alluring, charismatic, muscular, plump. Sure you can guess who said that. And amazing. So your synopsis is that you're the rare harmony of warmth and will. You don't announce your strength, you offer it. Your ideas, your dreams, your humor, your care. You lift others without keeping score. So as far as how I said we're insecure and we don't see ourselves how other people see us, another Rick Rubin quote was that self-doubt lives in all of us. While we may wish it was gone, it is here to service us. Humans are flawed, and the attraction of art is the humanity held in it. If we were machine-like, the art wouldn't resonate. It would be soulless. With life comes pain, insecurity, and fear. We're all different and all imperfect. The imperfections are what makes each of us and our work interesting. We create pieces reflective to who we are, and if insecurity is part of who we are, then our work will have a greater degree of truth in it as a result. So don't get too cocky about these words. You need to still stay insecure. How do you perceive imperfections in your own work? Are you willing to embrace them as opportunities for uniqueness and beauty? You said you're a perfectionist, so.
Yeah, I'm very hard on myself about imperfections in my work, and I notice it at every single step of the way, whether it be planning, execution, after the fact, like how I'm dealing with people. Like, I could always tweak what I'm doing and notice downfalls in every aspect of the way. So, not very good.
Okay, sounds like something you can journal about.
Yeah.
Are you good at shifting your focus from fixating on the end result to enjoying the process
Yeah,
in
that is
it?
something that I've definitely learned to be better at the older I've got. But I think part of that is me learning to just not take on things that I just genuinely don't want to do,
Mm-hmm.
you know, especially from a creative aspect.
Yeah, you don't seem like the kind of person that likes to say no. You
No.
want to say yes to everybody.
Yeah,
That's part of your kindness. So yeah, I mean boundaries. It's an overused term nowadays, but it is so important.
definitely. Yeah, that is definitely something I struggle with.
But coming from a family like you said where they like to work, I mean, hopefully in those
Yeah,
moments you're like, am I enjoying this? If I'm not, I need to find
yeah.
something else.
Definitely. Well, and even if I'm not enjoying it, like I'm really good at just disassociating for a little bit to get through it. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like if it's
Mhm.
really hard work, but know it needs to get done, like I can just do it
Mhm.
and I can just numb myself for the next 5 hours or whatever it takes, like
Mhm.
just constantly thinking like it'll be done eventually. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. But shifting to like, okay, I'm just gonna pretend like I like this.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're editing for Supernaut.
I do like that. I do like that.
Well, my favorite thing about you is the Snapchats of your kids, because I think if any kids have a chance of growing up happy, it's yours because you let them be kids and you let them be creative and just goofy and silly. And I just love it. I love watching you and Taylor be parents.
That's cool. I appreciate that.
What do you do right now that you hope your grandkids do when they are your age?
I think I could list more things that I would like them to not do
Well, we'll get
that I
there.
would do, but that I do, I think, do things even though you don't want to do them.
Mm,
I think that is a trait that has helped me more than it has hurt me.
mm,
And not that I necessarily always do that, but there's more
mhm,
times than not where I have done the thing that I just didn't want to do, and it just pays off so much more because that quote, like, to get things that nobody else has, you have to do things that nobody else will. Like,
mhm,
that has always kind of been like my
mm,
true north. Like,
mm,
you have to just do it, even if you don't want to do it,
mhm,
depending on what it is, obviously.
mhm,
From a
mhm.
work perspective, it's like there's so many people that are unwilling to just show up and just give that 110% effort when they only have 80, that if you're the one person, like it's a no-brainer, then you're going to do more, be more, get more. Not
Yeah.
necessarily just monetary, but just in life.
Higher reward.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think that there's anything that I regret ever doing just because of that fact. Plenty of times where I'm like, this sucks. I hate this. But once it's done, it's like so rewarding that it negates 100 other instant gratification things.
Yeah. Right. What do you do that you hope your grandkids? What's one or two things that you do that you hope your grandkids don't do?
That I hope they don't do. I want them to sleep more and
Right.
and eat better,
This
treat yourself
episode
better.
is going to be called Sleeping Something Something.
Yeah.
That's the theme.
Yeah, I think like just be kind to yourself, be easier on yourself, sleep more and take care of your body.
Hmm.
I guess that would be my three things that's like if you just do that, you'll be all right.
Hmm. Is there a quote or idea right now that you're mantra-ing? You're still working on it for this year.
A lot, honestly. Especially from that Diary of a CEO episode with Chris Williamson. I think the let go or be dragged is like it just keeps coming up in the back of my mind
Hmm.
that it's like that makes so much sense.
Hmm.
And I've
Do you have
never
a
heard it
tramp
explained
stamp
that way.
yet? You could tattoo that on your tramp stamp.
I have my wife's name on my butt,
Oh,
tattooed on my butt.
Cute.
But I could put that on my lower back for sure.
Yeah. Nice. Veda, do you have any questions?
No. No, I don't. Sorry.
That's okay. Anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about?
I'm trying to think. I guess I did want to ask you a couple questions.
Oh,
In your time of doing Supernaut, it's been now, like, how long has it been? A year now?
no, it'll be a year in April or May.
Okay. 9 months ish. What have you learned in podcasting for 9 months ish?
Well, in general, just that, yeah, do the hard, scary thing because it gets so much easier. Today, I was very nervous because we hadn't recorded in 2 weeks, and I was surprised at how my heart beat was kind of going crazy. But otherwise, the last 3 or 4 that we've done, I haven't even been nervous. So that's going to teach me for the rest of my life that I don't have to be as scared or do it because even if you are scared, you'll get less scared. Podcasting in general, I've learned I'm not really the best listener, but when I'm in here, I am a really good listener. So I think that makes me feel good that there is a space where I can be a really good listener.
Yeah.
And I just need to bring this space to other parts of my life. Otherwise, just that it's fun. I mean, I just love it. I love writing the outlines. I love talking to people. I hope that other people will come try it because it's really fun and it's
Yeah.
kind of the future.
It's such a weird thing, too, because there's no other excuse to just, like, sit down and be fully present nowadays. Even if you, like, go to lunch with someone, you would never sit down for a full hour plus and not look at your phone or, like, have some sort of
Yeah.
distraction. That it's
Yeah.
like, it's a full plane ticket to just be totally present,
Yeah, you're
which
probably
is so
right of
rare.
like, yes, because if I'm trying to have a conversation not doing this, I probably would be thinking, oh, I should do this. I should do this. Who's texting me? Who's blah, blah. But here
Yes.
it feels like it's a balance of work.
Yes.
Or, I mean, it's work. So it's like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing
Yeah.
so I can be fully present. So I'm capable of doing it. It's in my brain to be able to do. It's just my brain, my state of mind. So I can do it other places.
It's like a paradox of structured mindfulness.
yeah.
Like, mindfulness in and of itself can't really be structured because it needs to be this organic flowing thing. But
Yeah.
putting it in this box allows it to be so much more, which
Yeah.
is so weird. Like, putting rules on it makes it easier to do, which is so
Right.
strange. It's like the
Yeah.
one thing that feels different.
That's so true. I love that. Okay, well, to tie everything we talked about together, I thought this was a good quote from the Creative Act. Good habits create good art. The way we do anything is the way we do everything. Treat each choice you make, each action you take, each word you speak with skillful care. The goal is to live your life in the service of art.
Amen.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.